First thing I'm going to start with is the copper leaf. So I brought a couple of sample beads in, and I'm hoping you can see the difference, but I'll put some photos up on the group once they're done. So can you see how different the finish is on these? This one is made on ordinary Effetra white, and it's quite a matte finish. This one is Effetra enamel white, so it gives you a completely different look. This is a lovely glossy finish. I've got a little bit of scrunched up copper foil, and I know it looks gold, but it is copper foil, on a mandrel ready to roll. And I'm just going to light the torch. I'm going to start with the enamel white, because it does react slightly differently, and it looks, as you're making it, as you're winding the glass on, it looks a little bit as if it's going to go sort of an opal. So it's quite a nice finish. This is still freezing cold in here. It's lovely and sunny out today, but it's quite a chilly wind. So you can start off with a base bead of any type that you want. Glasses, that'll help. I'm going to start with a small barrel, but if you want a round bead or you want a pressed bead, just make the base bead as to what makes you happy. So this is a bit of a drag a minute while you're waiting for me to make just an ordinary base bead. If I thought, I could have prepared this beforehand. But this enamel white is actually soft before it looks as if it's really soft, if that makes sense. So if you're not careful, it could droop all over your bench, and it wouldn't be the first time I've done that. It's quite a while, this one, to go back to a normal colour. There we are. For this barrel, I'm just making a series of small beads joined together. As I go along, so that I'm trying to keep the base fairly consistent, so I don't have to do too much work to do to the base bead in terms of shaping. You make your base bead however you're comfortable, but this is how I like to do my barrels. It's actually quite a good starting point for a cone or a bicone as well, if you're working along this way. By making sort of a little spacer bead right up next to the last piece, helps you keep the ends of your beads tidy as well. Especially with processes like this where you're superheating the beads. I'm not pushing, you can see me rolling on my torch top marver, I'm not pushing down, there's no weight behind this, I'm just heating the very surface of the bead. I'm just trying to make sure that I keep it as tidy as possible as I'm going along. It's much easier to try and get this right in the beginning than correcting it later. And I can see I need a little bit more glass this end. Don't know if you can see. Just slightly thinner this end, so I'll just add a tiny wrap of glass on the very end. attach the heat to that. This is not as exciting as making gnomes, is it? But it is really a back to basics one for those of you that are just starting off. So that barrel now is a reasonable shape. Let's move this way, you can see it. There we are. I've got lots of copper on there, but it's scrunched up because I find it reactions are better when I'm not using a really thin piece and I've just scrunched it up nicely. What you'll find now is you dip this in, it'll look as if it's going to ash. Don't worry too much about it, it'll be absolutely fine. What's not on the bead I'm going to pull off, because I can save that for another time. So that's what we're looking at. It looks really messy and untidy. Just let it do its work now. Try as much as you can at this point to keep the heat on the surface of the bead. You know, you've spent, and sometimes, depending on the style of bead, you've spent quite a long time getting the shaping right, so you really don't want to lose out at this point. So as you've melted that in, it looks really mucky. Wait for it to cool a second so you can see it better. It just looks an untidy mess at the minute, like a grey smudge. Well, that's fine. Just keep going now. With the copper leaf, sometimes it goes all black and flaky and things as you're rolling it on. Don't throw that out. Keep that for your next bead. It's absolutely fine to carry on using it. There's no need to waste it. Sometimes I've got a big pile of just little black flakes on the sides, and the beads that come out of it at the end are lovely. I don't know, I'm hoping you can see this bubbling away on the surface now. I'll try it in a minute. I'll pull it back over to you and leave it cool down a bit and see if you can see some of this reaction. Most of the reaction from this one will come from being in the kiln, but you will start to see it as this cools. You should start seeing the reaction start to form on there, and you get a lovely shade of turquoise and black marbling. So sometimes it does look like a real piece of turquoise. If you don't think you've got enough, you can add more, but in all honesty, you've probably got enough in the beginning. And if you want to, you can add other things over the top of this. On one of the beads that I made as a sample piece, I rolled it in a little bit of frit, and I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head now, and I'll have to check it out for you later. I'm still suffering with a brain fog, in case you can't tell. But there we are. That's kept the shape of that barrel and literally just heating the surface, and now I'm just going to pop that in the kiln and leave the kiln do its job.